Well, that was fun.
Yeah, I don't think we're in Westview anymore.
Welcome to ZZ Talks review of WandaVision episode 4. And yeah, as I said in the intro, that was definitely fun. And this is the first one that really feels like the MCU for the first time in the series. And I don't think we're really going to have a non-spoiler section in this one. I mean, this one is pretty much all spoiler. A lot of it was a rehash of what happened in the first 3 episodes, but from a different perspective. But then also we saw some really new things. So just letting you know off the bat, spoiler talk from here on out. All right. You want to recap the episode, or you want me to do it?
Well, we can go back and forth. Okay. So obviously the episode started off first with the Monica's. The first part was the re-snap.
The reverse of the blip.
Which actually, you know what? I'm so glad they showed us that, because for some reason I thought they came back and all of a sudden it was in their head. Like, remember, it was in their head that they knew what happened, but no, it's like it's the opposite of the raptures that happened. Like people just came back. That was crazy.
They had touched on that in Spider-Man: Far From Home. How a lot of them didn't even know they were gone, and you know how Peter is now classmates with some kid's younger brother that didn't blip away, but now he's old enough. And that's the one that was into Mary Jane.
Yeah, but you never actually saw it happen. That was
right.
This was pretty amazing. And then of course you find out who Monica is, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I mean, I hope her mom is in the sequel to Captain Marvel, because we know she's not going to be in the show.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. So we start off with a lady reforming, like the opposite of the blip or the dusting, whatever.
The Thanos snap.
The Thanos snap. Thank you. She's reforming, and it's Geraldine, right? But she's in bed. It obviously looks like present day. And she's panicked. She's like, where's, she's asking for her mother, right? Because apparently she was in that hospital because her mother was recovering from surgery. And she was looking for her mother, and they said that her mother was dead. And she's like, but you said the surgery went fine. She was like, yeah. Your mother died.
The cancer came back, which was like...
She died 3 years ago, which is 2 years after you disappeared. And she's like, what do you mean disappeared? Yeah. If you've seen the Avengers Infinity War or Endgame, you know that people disappeared. They were gone for 5 years, and then the Avengers brought them back. So she was one of those that was brought back. So we then skip to, I believe it was 3 weeks later, because she's at Sword, which is a place she works for, which is it's like a SHIELD type organization. So she's at Sword, and the new captain of Sword, I guess her mother used to be the director. Sorry, her mother used to be the director. This new director of Sword was showing her around, and then basically told her that they're gonna keep her on the ground.
Actually, the thing though, he says acting director, which isn't that usually an indication of in between?
Yeah, but maybe it's like a perpetual acting director. Like Mick Mulvaney was the acting chief of staff forever. So it happens, right? He basically tells her that she's grounded. So it makes me believe that she was a pilot, like her mom and Carol Danvers. But it's like, we're gonna keep you on the ground here, and they sent her to go investigate a missing person's case, which happened to be a missing town's case. So we
skipped over this. There was no opening theme song, like there's been in the last 3 episodes.
Right.
It went straight into the Marvel montage.
Right, because the opening theme song. Well, yeah. There was an opening theme song. There was a cold open, which is the hospital scene we talked about, and then the Marvel thing, and the opening theme song are supposed to be just for the show WandaVision.
Yeah. No, and that's what we're later going to get into. So so then it goes from, they talk over what's going on, and then he's like, yeah, I need you to go somewhere. And what he does is she ends up going to you see the big sign that says Westview. Mm-hmm. And it's officer. Oh, who's I guess
the guy, Daniel Kim or Daniel Park.
Daniel Park.
Yeah, from the Ant-Man movies.
Yeah. So it's him, he's there, and then he's like, "Yeah, this is crazy." So they're talking to the officers, and there's like, "Ask him tell us what you said about Westview." And he was like, "There is no Westview.
Right.
Where are you from? Eastview." And then you can kind of like, okay. And then we start. Then this is immediately when like they start filling in some of the stuff that's happened during the course of the first 3 episodes. She sends out a drone. The drone is that same. This looks just like that same helicopter that the red helicopter that Wanda had found in the bushes. And then immediately she's sucked into whatever it is, this force field that they see. She's sucked into it, and then what is it, like 3 weeks later, 2 weeks, or
that
like,
she comes out? Well, 2 episodes later. Oh no, 3 episodes later. Yeah, because
no. I'm saying like it's like then we go to in the back of a van. It's Kat Dennings' character.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, some time had passed. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but yeah. So
this is the best part, right? Though they're starting to bring in all these MCU people.
Right.
They start investigating, doing all the scientist stuff. That's probably half of it isn't even realistic. But they do all the scientist stuff, and then Kat Dennings' character asks for a TV, old-fashioned TV, right? Well, she says not a flat screen. So obviously that means the old one, right?
The big backs.
Probably kids watching that episode are like, what is this thing right here? But then that's when we find out that the first 3 episodes haven't been random, like a random presentation. It's literally how they're seeing the
what's going on.
Yeah, so I think that's actually something that's makes it a little bit interesting, because it's kind of like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are fans were like, this is just a weird way,
like motif, or no?
It's an explanation, though. It is an explanation as to why we saw those first 3 episodes that way.
Well, I feel like people probably caught on by the end of the first episode, where you do see that TV when it's like zooming out. That okay, there is something behind this, why it's structured this way. Even though actually that question wasn't answered, because they did ask, why is it a 50s sitcom? They're like, I don't know.
She said the universe is. Remember, Daniel Park's character was like, the universe is presenting it to us this way.
No, he said, is it presenting us? It didn't. It wasn't a.
Oh, so it's still a question. It's still a little bit of a question.
Yeah. So anyway, so all that happens. So Monica gets sucked in there, and it seems to suggest that proximity might have something to do with not remembering, because they were saying that about the Cups. Like, is it because they're close by to this that they don't have any recollection of Westview? Because once Monica is sucked right into it, she apparently forgets everything about her mission and all that stuff. It wasn't until that scene that we saw in the last episode with the babies, where she was like, "Oh, you had a twin. He was killed by Ultron." That's when she's like snapping back. So anyway, so they get the TVs. They're seeing the stuff unfold. One thing I also noticed is that between episodes 1 and 2, and between episodes 2 and 3, there were other episodes, because there were scenes that they were showing on the TV that didn't exist in the stuff we were watching. So there were other episodes between the decade jumps that happened in the show. And then so that thing happens, Monica gets spit out, and then Monica says, it's all Wanda, right? The whole thing is Wanda.
No, but one thing I want to talk about is, so that Wanda, she comes out, she's like, it's all Wanda, and then we go to see Wanda, which goes back to Wanda. She fixes the damage that she just created, and then she sees Vision as he really is, which is with his freaking head blown off.
Yeah, the Thanos took out the Mind Stone, he crushed that part of his head to pull out the Mind Stone, and that's what she saw. Vision just purple with no Mind Stone in there, and it like freaked her out.
I just wonder if there's some type of connection with the fact that, remember when the Mind Stone gets taken out, he becomes gray. And remember when the show started, it was black and white, and then it became color. And then he became color. I wonder if there's some type of connection there. You know what I mean? That's kind of a. So I don't know if that's any answer. That's just I'm making connections that aren't there. But it's kind of interesting if you think about it,
So okay, now I have a couple of questions. I know there's some parts we probably skipped over in the recap, but we'll talk about it in our review. You know that they had the board on there where they were like identifying the people from Westview
I got the
on the
same
board.
question. You're
Yeah.
wondering, are those people did they get sucked in
No, no, no.
into
That's
this
not my
world?
question. No,
Oh, that's my question.
I believe they live there. My question is, did you see them identify Catherine Hahn's character? Because I don't believe they
No,
did. Yeah.
they did not.
So I don't think they have an identity for her, but Herb seems to know her, right? Although they seem to believe that Monica is an outsider, but he didn't feel that about her.
She
So
has no home.
yeah, but he didn't feel that about Catherine Hahn's character. So maybe she is a resident of Westview. I just don't remember seeing them specifically.
Maybe I didn't pay
Um,
attention. So they're not agents. The when they were identifying who they were just
no,
identifying them as people.
yeah, they're just they didn't mention agent of this or anything
Okay.
like that to suggest
I don't
that.
know. For some reason, I guess I thought agents, but okay. So yeah, them living. So she took over the town.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for
One.
sure. I think Westview is a place that everyone knows exists. Westview, New Jersey. But then for some reason, everyone that's like in Westview or next to Westview has forgotten that either Westview exists or the ones in Westview have forgotten that they're actually in the year 2020, whatever it is. Right. So,
Yeah.
so I feel like they haven't identified Catherine Hahn's character, but she should be from there since she knows
Well, they also
her.
didn't identify every single one of the
Right.
characters, the
True.
people that are there.
She seemed like a
So
prominent piece, but maybe I'm just looking too much into it. But okay. And then the other thing is why, and I know you don't know the answer to this, but this is something just to put out there. Why did the guy that they sent in under the sewers, when he passed the barrier, why did his stuff change to a beekeeper's outfits?
yeah, I don't. Well, what I'm thinking, because that actually led to her becoming of color, right? Them getting into color. I feel like what it is actually Wanda's defense. So I don't know if because she saw the bee, like she saw the cover, and then maybe she automatically turned him into a beekeeper. So that way there's an explanation as to who he is. Because remember, this is when color started sneaking in into the world. So I feel like she changed it to color in order for her ruse or whatever to keep going.
To mask all that stuff with the blood.
Yeah,
And
so I'm thinking maybe she changed him to a beekeeper because he looked like a beekeeper, so it's easier to explain a beekeeper. Because where the hell did the bees come from? That's what I looked at. I was like, where's these bees coming from?
Yeah, it's easier to explain than someone in a hazmat suit or like a sword or
Yeah.
Because you notice the drone that they sent in, because they were looking at it on that episode when they were looking at episode 2 on the TV. They're like, that looks like a sword drone, but like an old school version of it.
Yeah.
Right. So this drone was sent in one way, and when it dropped in, it was 65, if you want. Right. So it started looking like something from the 60s as opposed to something from this time period. Maybe, but I'm just trying to think, how does beekeeper make you look more like 60s than what he was wearing? But I don't know. Maybe they'll go into that. But
Well, I hope that's just a weird thing to leave open if they don't go into it.
right, yeah. But I like how it's either answered or confirmed some of our suspicions, but then almost raised like 10 more in the process, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Monica is completely correct that it's all Wanda. I think there are other factors at play, right? Unless Wanda just happened to figure out, oh, I can do this and change everything around me. And sorry, I know I'm rambling. I just have one more question for you. Why is Vision so sentient? Because if he's just a manifestation of her mind, why is he able to walk around and so why is he able to ask people these questions like, what do you mean about this, and all that stuff? He's very sentient despite being just a figment of her imagination, we assume.
Well, my thing is I'm getting that Wanda created this for him.
Mm-hmm.
She created that world. The Wanda captured this town for her to be able to bring back Vision.
Okay.
So if she's bringing back Vision, it's kind of like the ghost in the shell. the computer itself still has remnants of the sentientism, I guess, that he
Sentience.
would have had when he was alive,
Mhm.
right? So remember, he was also a computer, so there might actually be some of him in this world, because there has to be a way for her to be able to control it.
Mhm.
I don't think it's all her mental. There has to be some type of, you know, the battery in the middle of the town, or the,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like
Like,
the nucleus that keeps it going, and
like
then maybe that's where he's getting a little bit of the. Or do you think it's possibly somebody else that's causing him to do that?
yeah, I don't think it's all Wanda. I really don't. I think there is something else at play, and I think, especially if this is some sort of computer simulation, because we know it's not all in a computer, of course, because Monica was able to go in there, so
Yeah.
was the beekeeper guy and all that stuff. But if there is some sort of, LMD type situation going on, it would make sense that Vision could somewhat be recreated, because at the end of the day, he's just a manifestation of Jarvis. And I'm sure there's a Jarvis program lying around somewhere.
Yeah.
So you can always recreate Vision, just not in its form that we saw him as, because the Mind Stone is no
The
longer
mind is
there.
long gone.
Um, it's just weird to me that if he's just truly a figment of her imagination, why is he so like independent?
I'm gonna tell you right now. There's the one thing about this show that I think a lot of people probably are going to probably like write papers or something on, or essays, is the fact that this is Wanda's suffering PTSD from his death.
Yeah, her coping mechanism or something.
This is her coping mechanism. Exactly. She had to create this world, and it could actually be PTSD-ish that she created this.
So then the kids aren't real either. Yeah,
No,
if Vision's not real, the kids aren't real.
Yeah, because I don't think unless she was pregnant.
Maybe, but I don't think so. Okay,
I don't think that happened yet, because I don't think he had sperm.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, things happen. These are the rings or the stones that blip the people. So we never know. Okay. Before we veer too much into theory talk, let's do it. Let's do our.
I thought you were going to say before we go too much into robot porn.
No, I was not. So let's do our score. How do you rate this episode?
I'm gonna go, because I still want to have room to be able to make other episodes, because this to me is the best episode so far.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with an 8. I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah. It was a good episode. Was it the best? I would say it's a 7.5. Only because I do like that, because remember last week I said that they can't keep up the sitcom thing forever. They have to change it up. I do like that they changed it up. I do like that they started to feed us some answers. I still want more. I still feel like this is scratching the surface, but when we do find the real crux of it, it's gonna be like, oh my god, I'm just not there yet. So I'm gonna give it a 7.5, which is on par with what I rated the first episode, I believe. Mm-hmm. So no, I rated the first two together 7.5, because I actually thought the first was an 8 and the second was like closer to like a 7. So this is my second best episode, and I rated it 7.5.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, Zeus and I are probably going to talk offline about more theories and stuff. But thank you guys for watching our review. Come back next Friday when we watch episode 5 and find out that this is all Captain America's doing in some form or fashion. Well, one more thing before we sign off. The voice was not Cap. Remember, we were saying it sounds a lot like Steve Rogers.
But I think that was probably manipulation on purpose.
Yeah, maybe he knows how to do the voice that sounds a bit like Chris Evans. And he was like, yeah, and then he was like, hey, we can throw people off if I do my Chris Evans voice. So, so yeah, it was Daniel Park. Is it Daniel? It's Daniel Park, because Daniel Kim is the guy from Lost.
Okay. Yeah. If not, we'll correct it afterwards.
We'll
We
do
probably
correction.
need to know his name and his character's name, as well as Kat Dennings' name.
We should stop calling
And
them the
then-
wrong characters. Yeah.
Right.
But yes, it was good to see all these MCU characters come back. Him from Ant-Man, of course, and Kat Dennings from the first two Thor movies. So that was cool. But yeah, it's a wrap.